They dropped a computer off of the top of the building, and that's the sound that it made.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun.
How did they get themselves out of 4? I feel in 4-4 prison when I'm songwriting.
You go to India and you drop LSD until you feel 7.
All that and more today on Professional Musicians React. Here we go. We are here today with some amazing professional musicians. We are going to do one of my favorite songs of all time, a Beatles classic, Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. We got Ariana Powell. Ariana plays guitar and has played with Halsey, Olivia Rodrigo, Black Eyed Peas, Nick Jonas, will.i.am. Oh my God. Welcome, Ariana. We got Theo Katzman. Theo Katzman is an amazing singer-songwriter, plays everything under the sun from keys to guitars to drums to you name it. We got Ryan Lerman. Ryan plays guitar and has played with Ben Folds and John Legend and Michael Bublé and does arranging and production and songwriting. Ryan is incredible. We got an amazing troupe of professional musicians here. My name is Jack Conte. I'm the CEO of Patreon, and I play in the bands Pomplamoose and Scary Pockets as well with Ryan. What's a music film that you would recommend people should watch?
We were just referencing here the 1-2-3 McCartney. Is that what it's called?
3-2-1 McCartney?
Yeah, it's conversations with Paul McCartney, and he's telling stories and talking about the lyrics and the production and also their relationships. It's awesome.
At the time, I was just working with this bloke, John. Now I look back and I was working with John Lennon.
I'm going with History of the Eagles.
Being in the Eagles was a blast.
Harry Nilsson documentary. Who is Harry Nilsson is incredible.
I liked the one where the world forgets all of the Beatles music.
Oh, yeah.
And he has to remember Beatles songs and he plays it and everybody loves it. What was that film called?
I want to say it was called Yesterday.
When did you write that?
I didn't write it. Paul McCartney wrote it. The Beatles.
Who?
I never
great.
saw it.
That was
I liked
cute.
it. It was. Here we go. One of the best songs, I think, one of the best Beatles songs ever written. It was released on Abbey Road, 1969, recorded at Abbey Road Studios in London.
Is this not the most streamed Beatles song?
I think it is, man.
Which is ironic because it's a George song.
I
I
know.
was going to say the same thing.
Some of the best songs are George songs.
Here's what Harrison said from his autobiography. It seems as if winter in England goes on forever. So one day I went over to Eric Clapton's house and I walked around the garden with one of Eric's acoustic guitars and wrote, Here Comes the Sun.
So amazing, dude.
That's what it sounds like.
That's so cool.
You're like, oh, fuck yes, a break.
I love that. And his relationship with Eric, because I think Eric played guitar on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, right?
Yeah.
He played the guitar solo.
Yeah.
So obviously he had such a love and a comfort for him.
Should we listen to the song? Here we go.
Here comes the sun. I don't remember that.
Me neither.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling.
I feel like I could listen to that song 1,000 times and hear new things every
There's
time.
so much
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
There's so much happening. It's different than a lot of Beatles songs. It's very mature. The arrangement is very advanced.
You listen to it closely, there's so much detail in the recording. So many little things are double tracked, and the organ stuff and that flute thing, that falling whatever.
Synth.
I love that flute line, yeah.
I couldn't write as
know.
fast as I was hearing all the details. I feel
So
like we
detailed.
need to listen again, but some things stood out right away. One thing is just classic about these records, the hard panning that the Beatles used to do, especially on drums. I love how they treat drums as like one of the elements of the arrangement. They'll often record the full rhythm section and they'll put them in one ear, and then like vocals and a tambourine are in the right ear or something.
Yeah.
Did you guys read that book, Here, There, and Everywhere, the Jeff Emmerich book?
No, I'd love to. Wow.
It's a great book, and he just details all the sessions. He was the engineer. When they were recording the drums, they noticed, God, when you record the kick and the snare with the cymbals, just with the amount of separation that they had, it just created this washy thing. The compression didn't really sound good on the cymbals. So they had Ringo record a lot of the parts without cymbals.
Wow.
And then he overdubbed hi-hat.
And fills.
And fills.
You hear the fills are doubled.
So imagine you're trying to be groovy and you can't play hi-hat.
Whoa, that's amazing.
And then you overdub hats afterwards. Like, it's going to fuck with your groove a little bit.
Also,
cool.
close miking.
Maybe we should all be doing that.
They kind of
It is cool. It's
they
really
kind of
like-
pioneered close miking drums.
They absolutely did.
Like there was a manual that said like you're only allowed to mic drums from this far away because these mics are expensive.
The
And
recorded
engineers
music manual?
wore white lab coats and they had to follow the rules and wear ties. And the Beatles had the authority because they were doing so well to be like,
No.
fuck that, put the mic
Yeah.
right up against the drum.
The little swooping sound on the panned right leading into the chorus. Listen. Left side.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Stratton.
It's
That's some
the-
Jack.
I love that.
They dropped a computer off of the top of the building, and that's the sound that it made.
Dude,
They're playing a
whoa.
synth and they probably just had a pitch modulator.
Do we know if this is a remaster or like a remix?
Is this the Daft Punk remix?
This is a remaster.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's anything.
So maybe the panning stuff wasn't included. But that's the swooping is definitely the synth that's doubling the melody. I always thought of that as just a guitar playing the melody and never realized there was a synth
No, I
behind
never
it.
noticed that synth.
Other thing I noticed, he doubles the guitar with the vocal a lot.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things about the Beatles is they apply a lot of common classical orchestration techniques, including doubling. So they'll take a guitar part and they'll double it with a synth or with strings or with a piccolo. I think a lot of that came from George Martin, and it's one of the things that gives the Beatles mixes and arrangements that characteristic sound. Can we talk about George Martin's string arrangement here?
I was just going to say that, yeah. I was just thinking, like, I recently heard an interview with Paul McCartney and how he was really reluctant to add strings, like, before Yesterday, the song Yesterday. His original thought was, like, this is a rock and roll band. Like, we don't have strings, you know? Or guitar, bass, drums, you know, keys. But how the song is very much like, yeah, it is, like, kind of, like, flowery and pop, and the strings do, like, add to that. But when you get into, like, the other sections and the sun, you know, it is still very much a rock band.
It is definitively George Martin plus the Beatles. Those tracks would not sound that way without George Martin
Yeah.
The
pushing
magic
on them
good collaboration.
to like, hey, no, trust me, this orchestral shit is not going to sound like grandma music. It's going to sound really good.
The depth of his arranging, the depth of his knowledge of like classical and just like the American songbook, his ability to like corral these kids.
Wait, what you just said, corral these kids? He literally, the vocal harmonies sound like Bach chorales. And the Beatles, this fucking rock band is singing Bach. And
It's a
it
Bach
sounds
band, dude.
beautiful. It's a
Yeah.
Bach- But like, so here's the other thing about George, and maybe the Beatles are doing this too. I'm sure they were. One of the ways that arrangers, you know, in the Romantic era, you know, and before Baroque music, you know, you would experiment with combinations of instruments to get different timbres. You'd put an oboe together with a viola, or you'd put you know, just a wind section, or you'd take a cello and a, you know, whatever. I feel like that tradition of combining instruments to get new textures is one of George Martin's things that he brought to these arrangements.
George Martin doesn't get enough credit.
I agree. What else do we notice about the song? Something that stood out to me. Did you hear the chorus on the guitar?
You know what that is?
What is it?
I don't think that's chorus.
It's not chorus? What is it? It's some kind of modulation effect.
That's the spinny speaker that I have in my studio. That's a Leslie.
That's a Leslie Model 16.
That's a Leslie. Yeah.
Can we hear it? That.
Yeah. That's a Leslie.
That's
yeah.
a Leslie. What a Leslie does,
Beatles.
it pitch modulates the device, right? Because because the cones
Yeah.
are coming at you and then moving away from
Right.
you.
It's like a mini Doppler.
It's a mini Doppler
Yeah.
effect.
Oh, mini
Yeah.
Doppler.
So you're hearing a little bit higher frequency, a little bit lower frequency, which is
Yeah.
exactly what a chorus is doing.
Right. It's
So-
like a
So you're both right.
It's an analog physics version
And-
of a chorus
And all the
pedal.
doubling too.
and it kind of plays into how they mic it, because if you put a mic in one place, you won't necessarily hear it as much, but normally how you mic a Leslie is from both sides,
Right.
which is what a chorus is, right? It's like two
Yes.
modulations happening in stereo.
I
Yes.
mic'd the cab from both sides now. I'm sorry.
Okay, Joni.
That little bit boop, 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 is such a short idea. It repeats all over the place. So by the time you're 30 seconds into the song, you feel like you've heard Little Darlin' 1,000 times. And
Yeah.
it makes it a really catchy pop song.
I love that he says, "Doo doo doo." It's like, wait a minute, that works.
I'm just singing along.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that's not in September. The Badia.
Yeah.
They were like trying to find a lyric for that, and finally they were just like, Badia.
Yeah.
I struggle with that so much.
Mbop.
I feel like we're always like, what's the lyric? What's the lyric? What's the
Right.
lyric? Sometimes it's just doo doo doo.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It
That's
feels good. And also, it's all right. This is something that the Beatles are constantly doing. You know,
Yes.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Like, yeah. This is a very mature song to me. This
Yeah.
is like something that I don't feel like a novice songwriter would write for a number of reasons. But one is, I wrote down, don't be afraid to let the section be as long as it wants to be. And then when it's done, which is how I feel a little bit about Sun, 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 here it comes. What? Why those bars of Odd Time?
I know.
Well, because that's
Where
what
the
he's
lyric
saying.
ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why they are able to do odd time signatures, but still make it feel good because it follows the rhythm of the speech.
Even just bing.
Yes.
I that doesn't feel like I know what I need. I need an odd time. It doesn't feel that way at all.
No, to me also that feels guitar led because I know that those are kind of like triads. He probably just kind of was messing around on the guitar and came up with that and was like, I like how that sounds, you know?
Yeah.
And that the arpeggio is actually like where it's coming from. So then that's dictating the meter.
I think that's a cool way to write. You know,
Totally.
without having to, and again, with modernity and the like easiness, the ease of looping, I think it's easy to fall into this like everything has to be a chunk of 4, or a chunk of 8, or a chunk of 16. It's like, well, maybe not.
I find myself as a songwriter, and maybe the answer is I'm not fucking Paul McCartney, so that's why.
Well,
But-
unfortunately, that's also the answer to and whatever you're about to say. I feel the same thing.
How did they get themselves out of 4? I feel so stuck. I feel in 4/4 prison when I'm songwriting, and I have to be
What you
like,
do is you-
fuck it, I'm gonna do 7.
You go
and
to
then,
India and you drop LSD until you feel 7. Until you feel, you do not stop until you feel 4 and 7.
But I guess that's what I'm saying about the guitar led thing. Sometimes it's like, and maybe it's your limitations too that's creating that.
Like he starts with the arpeggio and just
Like,
lets that be
You're starting
the rhythm.
with the chord or the arpeggio and you're kind of like playing it out. It's almost like your limitations that are causing those weird meters, maybe.
Yes, you follow the lyric
Yes.
or the melody of the thing, you can be like, oh, that's the new one.
Right. Which is the,
Yeah, melody
Grateful
led.
Dead would
or-
do that. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people would do that.
Okay, that's going to be a takeaway for me actually from this as a songwriter is
Yeah.
like don't lead with the meter, lead with the idea. And
Right.
let the
Yeah, yeah,
idea
yeah.
be as long as it is.
Yes.
And then let the meter follow the idea.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Factoids. Okay. Which Beatle crossed
George. Oh,
Abbey Road first?
John. No, Paul.
It's John, right?
It's John. John is in front. Nice. Good visual memory.
No,
Okay, next factoid. What band did the Beatles get the idea for their name from?
Long John and the Silver Beatles.
The band liked the idea of using the name of the insect as the band name, and they were fans of Buddy Holly and the Crickets. Because John Lennon loved puns, he altered the spelling of Beatles with it 2 E's to
My
be
kind of guy.
One more factoid. What's strange about the way the Beatles credit their songs?
John and Paul.
Yeah.
Everything 50-50.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if every song Paul was like, actually, I think I wrote more of the lyrics. So actually, would you mind taking 25% instead of 50%?
But like, are the George tunes just credited as George?
Yeah.
Should they have credited everyone? Is that the question?
Well, I just think it's an interesting choice. There's a camaraderie that I think you can achieve by being like, look, fuck it. That's not why we're doing it. We're not doing it for 8% of this and 6% of that. We're doing it because we want to fucking write great music together.
I'm sort of surprised that not everyone is cut in on it. If you've learned anything from music history of like all the problems with relationships that happen when people are screwed out of ownership, hopefully if it's really a band, it's even.
Yeah, that's why I was so surprised when Ryan asked for 51% of Scary Pocket.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, but I didn't want to.
No, Jack, I asked for 1%.
50 times.
You thought I said 51?
I'm going to do some questions. First question is from Reese Curatolo. Oh, we got a question from Reese.
Here comes the sun. Dig into a couple things, if you will. Ringo's ability to translate the Indian influence in the rhythm at the middle 8 and the climax thereafter, and the synth sound on the record. Do you know the name of the synthesizer?
Thank you, Reese, for your question. Reese is not only a member on our Discord, but Reese has sung with Pockets.
We kind of talked about the synth. We don't know
I don't know what the name of it is.
1969. So it's these are super early synths.
It's a synthesizer is what it is.
Yeah.
Did they have Moogs back then?
God, I think Moogs were like in the 70s, right? Early 70s is the earliest Moogs. Were they out in the 60s? I mean, there were synths in the 50s. People were playing
Raymond
synthesizers.
Scott.
Yeah.
Everybody go Google Raymond Scott.
Yeah.
What about that Indian rhythm question? That's totally out of left field for me. I've never thought about that.
So how do the Beatles get unboxed at a time? It's because they listen to lots of cool shit from other cultures and other people, and we're just stuck in Western
Go to
music.
India and do LSD.
Okay, you did say go to India. Yeah. This question is from Yum.
What's up, Yum?
Hi, William Van Vechten from Santa Cruz, California. If you'd be willing to check this out, I would love to hear your reaction.
There's that bright ass motherfucking Moog.
Whoa.
Claps.
So they added a second oscillator on the Moog.
I thought that the timing is kind of wacky in certain spots. Like some are a little pushed and some are a little bit far behind, and especially like the lines at the end of those cadences are like a little bit like rushed or almost just like kind of falling off.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's adding to the spirit of it and the humanness of it that we get.
Yeah.
The character.
It's character.
Everything is so well crafted. The details change each time around. That was Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. I feel like we could have kept going for another 3 hours.
Yeah, totally.
We could have done 4 more listens on instrumentation. We could have done a whole deep dive on that string arrangement. The Beatles are just so full. Their arrangements are so beautiful. There's so much to talk about there. Maybe we should do a whole day on the Beatles.
Can I just say also, George's heart is so felt. I feel it so like, it's so unaffected. It's just like, it's such a calming, comforting, honest delivery. There's no pretense in it. I love it.
Totally. I mean, I can't imagine, like, for George to have been a late bloomer, relative to Paul and John as a songwriter. Can you imagine?
There's hope for us all, Ryan.
Exactly.
Even you and me. Isn't that crazy?
Exactly. If we hang out with Jack long enough.
And on that note, hope for us all. We'll take it out. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this, we come out with new episodes every week. If you have ideas for what we should do a deep dive into next, please leave us a comment in the comment section down below. We might listen to your song and do a deep dive on it and listen to it and react to it. All the things that we talk about today, if there's records or books or songs or other music videos, it's all in the description section down below. So feel free to explore around down there if there's something that you want to link to. So please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time on Professional Musicians React. Arrivederci.